Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where I show you guys the coolest custom builds I happen to see people building in LEGO bricks throughout this last week. Like always, there is just a massive amount of creations to show you guys, not in any particular order of best to worst. Links to everybody I'm talking about are in the description below, and before we jump in, the custom building instructions that have popped up in the web store this week come from the designer Mikael Opinski, and it is the minifigure scale TIE Brute. It's got an excellent gun swiveling function. It's super big, it's super beefy, scales with the rest of the TIE models. And if you did want to support the channel, you can always get the instructions at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. Now it's time to jump in with some honorable mentions from Sam Malmberg. This is the Nebula 47 hangar, very complete looking and clean. Bob DeQuatre has some very interesting book builds. Marius Herman's Blade Runner spinner has an excellent design and shape to it. From Norton 74, the A-frame cabin is on LEGO Ideas if you wanted to go support it. Rebla's Panzer has an excellent shape to that little tank body. Love the look of the teapot home from Jonas Cram. Simon Liu called this project Bunnies Rise Up. Check out the inside of the cockpit. Are we having fun yet? From Dan Coe. This is Moby Dick. Love the simple and very easy little shapes of the whale and the ship. I had to check if this was Mr. Bean's car from his old show. It is not, in fact, but definitely reminds me of it. It is the Peel P50 Micro Car from Mock Designing Diary. Van Stream has a build from Havana 1717. The simple side-built sloped bricks that make the curve of this building is just a little something different I haven't quite seen done this way before. And there are just a ton of builds here that I honestly don't have time to talk about everything, even in honorable mentions. But suffice it to say, there are just some amazing builds this week. Let's get into my personal favorite top 10. So jumping right in, number 10 from Tino Poutianen. This is Hygogg. Hope I'm saying that right. It is an amphibious mobile suit from Gundam 0080. It's a pretty recognizable looking mobile suit. Personally, I don't think I've seen this particular show that has it, but I definitely have seen similarly styled robotic builds in the past. I love the tentacle-like arms and the big flipper type hands, and the design is otherworldly enough where perhaps some of these strange shapes actually serve some type of function as opposed to robots that just sort of look like people. It's very smooth and rounded and sleek and curvy, which is fun, and it's not a particularly large model at that. The number 9 slot is not just one build necessarily, but instead it's kind of two. It's part of the Greeble family. They are a friendly little LEGO alien family. This is their residence. I love the interesting curvy slopes and popping colors. The whole area opens up and there's bedrooms, bathrooms, living room. It's kind of a full system here. No staircases or ladders, I'll point out, so perhaps they just teleport from room to room. And then we have this awesome, somewhat Jetson style car that can fit the entire family. Great colors that pop absolutely everywhere. From the designer GunnBuilding, this is the Temple of Mount Everest. Once again, the colors really pop here quite well. Part of that is because this is also done in digital, so maybe some of these pieces don't exist quite the same way in certain colors, but the gold really contrasts well against the light nougat and dark red. The colorful flags are a nice touch, and there's even a pretty well detailed interior for this Himalayan temple on top of that. Nothing too crazy in terms of building techniques, just a great atmosphere. And now we're down to number 7 from Montgomery Burns. Not the first time I've seen a greenhouse style build from him in the past. This one is a bit bigger and a little bit more realistic, I should say, at least in terms of a color palette. I like the trans green tile pieces used for the pond. You don't often see green water, but it certainly is that way, especially in an area like this. Awesome pieces used to make up some of the vegetation. I love the green and lime green hair pieces that make up some of the plants. It's a pretty rock solid looking build. Lots of details everywhere you're looking. And then from Koen Zwanenburg, here is his jeweled egg collection. I don't know if this was intentionally supposed to coincide with the Easter weekend recently, but instead these are detailed to look more like those wonderful Fabergé jeweled eggs. Stylistically, they all have a fundamental different approach, which is great. And the use of all those different trans-colored plates and slopes really pops quite well, especially against the gold and flat silver, which makes up so many of the extra detailings. It's funny, almost the gold detailing feels less extravagant compared to some of the other jeweled colors. Now we're jumping down to number 5 from Remco Rohaan. We have seen a few work in progress pics over the last several weeks from this builder. This is the NU Republic attack shuttle mock that he's finally been able to kind of set down and put in front of a legit lighting studio, and you can get some great photos here. It's not just the shuttle, but there's also this massive container that can drop off like a whole squadron of clone troopers. And there you can see they've got tons of supplies, bark speeders. The whole model is lit up really, really well. And it's just one of those epic, massive Star Wars models that I simply could not ignore. He sent over a lot of information, in fact, about the particular specifications of this build, including parts and time and everything. Suffice it to say, this is a massive project, and I personally think that the effort really paid off for this model. Now, number 4, I thought was going to be one build. I originally saw this Shogunocturn from Eero Okkonen. It's a great, fantastical looking character. We can talk about the techniques here all day, but this is part of a larger, funny, sort of collaborative build project from a bunch of different designers titled Oops All Nocturne. So there's Rockturn, Nosturn, Canuckturn, Oxturn, Nocturmit, so Hermit, Nocturne spelled Knock, Noctuoturn, not sure what that one's supposed to be. Then there's Blockturn, and I highly recommend you check out the links in the description below, so I won't show you Crocturn, but it is absolutely worth checking out that link below. So anyways, all of these are just in the number 4 slot. They're super fun and super weird. And then number 3 is from the designer Kevin J. Walter, a builder that we are currently working with. He's got a few designs up in the web store. And for April 5th, this is the Phoenix, or specifically the ship from the Star Trek universe that once the warp drives are activated, they then make first contact for the first time. The details are excellent. We've got some great shapes. There's lots of coherent greebling details, especially towards the back thruster. I think that's my favorite bit of the build. But I think any builder can appreciate the fact that the main cylinder has those cutouts on either side for the nacelles to fold into. It's a great looking bit of building and a pretty legit Star Trek tribute. Now from the builder Suck My Brick, this is Captain Davy Jones. This Captain Davy Jones kind of does remind me of how this character appeared in Pirates of the Caribbean, though it is clearly a different type of person altogether. It's a bit more cartoony, a little bit more friendly and approachable, but still quite expressive. I love the eyebrows, and the flowing, curvy tentacle pieces are built into the face with a hardly noticeable transition. It's just a really cool model. This guy's great at doing facial expressions. You should definitely check out his Flickr if you have the extra time. And now we're jumping into the last model of the week. So many people have done Hobbit holes in Lego bricks. It's one of these types of creations that just will never stop happening. There's so many epic ones. This one in particular is probably one of the most impressive that you will see. It is simply titled BAGEND. The designer is Nicolas Holzem, and it is just massive. It's not just one Hobbit hole, it's like the whole neighborhood. Not only is the overgrown greenery of this entire massive area really well thought out, lots of detail, but each one of these Hobbit holes has an interior on the inside. Each one is a little bit different, and it's just one of these huge, well-rounded out atmospheric builds that doesn't have a border or any particular area where the build ends and begins. It's all just one giant open model with just detail galore. If there is one Shire Lego build to rule them all, this is probably it. But of course, I will always leave that type of discussion for you guys to decide in the comments below. Anyways, that is it for my personal top 10 Lego mocks of the week. If you enjoy our content, you can always like, subscribe, comment, share. Check out the web store if you got any time. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.